millions of dollars. Fox's Matt Finn. America is listening to Fox News.
Celebrate 250 years of America with massive savings during the Liberty 250 savings event on the Sheeler Motor Mile. Right now, get an additional $250 fuel savings discount on all new and used vehicles. An additional $250 in fuel savings. Shop over 2,000 new and used vehicles in one location, including more than 1,000 quality pre-owned vehicles with most makes and models at the Used Car Superstore, plus 12 new car brands in Southwest Virginia: Honda, Hyundai, Kia, Toyota, Subaru, Chevrolet, Buick, Mitsubishi, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram. Used cars starting at just $59.95. $59.95. And your trade is worth more. Shop local and save with straightforward pricing, exceptional service and selection, certified friendly staff, no games, no gimmicks, and more inventory arriving daily, plus flexible financing options for every budget. We've got the credit. The Sheeler Motor Mile delivers choices. The Liberty 250 savings event on the Sheeler Motor Mile. I-81 exit 118C in Christiansburg. Call 866-SHEELER1. Always open at Sheeler.com.
Example 2009 Chevrolet Impala, stock number KA260134B, plus tax tag title and $697 processing fee.
The clock is ticking. Time is running out for Virginia citizens to purchase modern sporting rifles and magazines from Big Boys Guns. Beat the July 1st deadline. Right now, the selection is robust at Big Boys Guns. ARs, AKs, and the most popular handguns will soon be banned from sale in the state of Virginia. Don't wait. Visit Big Boys Guns before the inventory is gone and not allowed to return. Shop 24/7 at BigBoysGuns.com and in store on Route 460 in Blue Ridge.
Are you tired of the advertising rep who never takes no for an answer and always comes back well after you've said no?
Yeah, hi, it's me again.
Then visit InsaneRadioDeals.com. You can shop for advertising on your terms. That's right. Not only can you get the best deals on restaurants, retails, and experiences at InsaneRadioDeals.com, get your advertising there as well. Get packages for one, a blend, or all Virginia Talk Radio Network platforms. When you purchase your package, you'll be assigned a producer to help customize your message that gets results. Thanks to InsaneRadioDeals.com.
You're stepping into the fast lane on the VTRN Sports app. 93.3 FM and 1320 AM Lynchburg, or by asking Alexa or Google Home, open VTRN Sports Lynchburg. Now, take the fast lane through the topics that matter across the Commonwealth. This is the Fast Lane with Ed Lane.
A simple question for our very own Trey Lyle to begin the Fast Lane. Trey, how is your sports health given the last 24 hours?
I'm doing great.
You're doing great. Okay, good.
I mean, I accept it. No, that you're wrong person in my family about the A.J. Brown trade.
Who's distraught?
My soon-to-be bride in a few days. Storm.
Her
favorite player was A.J. Brown because of the book thing.
Yeah, well, he's reading on the sideline. She's a teacher. We thank her as we enter the end of the school year.
I slowly prepped her for this. So
you only needed like 3 months to figure out this thing was going to happen. But the other reason I ask for that, of course, is because the viral sensation over the last 48 hours, last 24 hours really, has been college baseball. And most recently, Country Roads, Take Me Home to the Place I Belong.
About the western part of Virginia.
Only they didn't include that in Morgantown.
Just look at a map. Just please look at a map.
Well, that's Trey in his bitterness over what's been a rough 24 hours of sports from yesterday when the Eagles finally traded A.J. Brown in a move we all saw coming for like 3 months. And then West Virginia knocks off Kentucky to punch their spot in the Super Regional against Cal Poly, but could have been Virginia Tech if they had have won.
I know my friend Francis Tiafo crumbles late in the French Open.
Do not get me started on Roland Garros. It has been brutal for me.
I technically called my friend because I've met him once, and
I've had banner years and a lot of good tennis tournaments with a lot of great outcomes. This was not one of them. In the meantime, a quick detour or back on track.
After Ed's potentially unnecessary detour, let's get back on the road in the fast lane.
Speaking of health, Trey might need to head over to Green Hill Park in Salem on Saturday, June 20th to Move-A-Palooza presented by Fleet Feet Roanoke, because it's clear after the last 24 hours his sports health might not be in the spot he wants it to be. Mine, too, after the French Open has not exactly been a banner tournament of projections for me. Thankfully, my last hope, former UVA tennis player Rafael Hodar, out today. But if you're in a spot where you need to improve your health, that is why you need to go to Green Hill Park in Salem, Saturday, June 20th for Move-A-Palooza, presented by Fleet Feet Roanoke. Joining us now, Kelly Brammer with the Roanoke County Parks and Recreation Department here. Kelly, you guys are all about these type of events. How much does this event, Move-A-Palooza, the first annual event, the first annual version of this event, fit with the mission of the Roanoke County Parks and Rec and providing people an opportunity to maximize their health and live it to the fullest?
Well, first of all, we always love to showcase our beautiful parks because we want people to come more than just to events at the parks. We want them to be outside, recreate, the other 364 days a year. So these kinds of events that get people outside, moving, and seeing the different areas, different parks and amenities, that's what we're all about.
The cool thing about Move-A-Palooza presented by Fleet Feet Roanoke is it's a regional wellness hub, meaning people will be coming from all over the region to not only Move-A-Palooza, but to see Green Hill Park, which is one of the Roanoke County Parks and Recreation Department's parks that they oversee. What will they be able to experience about the park where they go, wow, this is a really cool place and a place where I can go myself or with family and friends in future times?
Well, first of all, it's a huge open space, which, so many parks have different topographic things that make them so fun. When you're standing in Green Hill Park, it's 360 views of the mountains. It's absolutely gorgeous. It's stunning. We have a greenway that runs through it. We have woods with trails through it. There's an equestrian center there. We have, ball fields in the back. We have playgrounds, shelters. The river runs right through the park. There are so many different things you can do at that at Green Hill Park. It's just, choose your adventure.
Yeah, there are a lot of things. It's really cool. I go by there. That's part of my sales route when I'm over in the Roanoke and Salem area, as Kelly Brammer is with us here in the Fast Lane. Kelly, how did this partnership come to be? Why did you at the Roanoke County Parks and Recreation Department in Green Hill Park agree to work with our friends, Matt Thompson and the crew over at Fleet Feet Roanoke, to put this on?
First of all, they are the best people. They're so wonderful to work with. They have such a heart for the community, which is what we are also all about. So when you have two organizations that have similar missions, it makes so much sense to pull resources and to do really cool things together. So when they came up with this idea of wanting to do that, presented it to us, we were very much like, on board, let's work together. We have other parks, Explore Park, that we want to do race series with, and we think Fleet Feet would be a great partner. So it's a very symbiotic relationship. We're very excited to work with them.
So you bring that up, the overall event and working with Fleet Feet, how much of the goal of that, as well as this event, is making these type of events seamless for people who are looking to attend and figure out what wellness areas they would like to grow in?
With Fleet Feet, with this particular event,
and we got a bit of a technical challenge there with Kelly Brammer of the Roanoke County Parks and Rec Department. Once we get her back on our connection, we will get with her again and we'll ask that question again. We're not sure if she can hear us. If she can give us a thumbs up at Fastlane and Lane and DTR.
Can you hear me?
She's got it. Not sure what the audio connection is. Trey is working to troubleshoot. Kelly, can you hear us?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. We'll try
I'm
that.
so
again.
sorry. I don't know what happened.
Technology.
I think the internet just cut out.
Yeah, at the perfect time. What is the goal, and how much of the goal of this event is to make it seamless for people who are looking to attend the event and use it as a launch point to grow their personal health and wellness?
I think for this, it was just really important for everyone to explore different types of movement. It's not just a running race. It has so many, they're doing yoga, there's going to be dancing. Some people, I think, just feel pigeonholed that I'm a runner, this is all I do. No, your body moves in so many different ways. And I think that this event celebrates that.
Kelly Brammer with the Roanoke County Parks and Recreation Department. She is helping put on Move-A-Palooza presented by Fleet Feet Roanoke. It is Saturday, June 20th at Green Hill Park in Salem. She's told us why the venue's great, why it's worth coming out. Last one for you, and we are grateful for your time. The value of the event to the area. What value does this event have to the Roanoke Valley, into our region, giving people a place to congregate and gather and grow together?
I think anytime you can touch grass is so vitally important. And I think, honestly, working together with Fleet Feet has been a dream, because they are just having the heart for your community, seeing a need in a community and wanting to produce that is so fantastic. And I think people coming from all over the region will really see the heart and soul that they're putting into this event and really be able to just love it and accept it. It's gonna be great. I'm so excited about it. The energy around it is incredible.
You and me both. I'm excited to drive over there. I've got an early mid-afternoon time slot to get over there and check it out. I look forward to it and look forward to seeing you in person, Kelly, although that'll be more disappointing that you have to see my not so gorgeous face in person.
I'm looking forward to meeting you. And can I just also say, I am very excited as a Philadelphia girl that AJ Brown is no longer on our team. So goodbye. Have fun with the Patriots. So.
Yeah. Well, it was fun while it lasted is the best description.
It was. That was. Maybe that was too much of a hater, but yeah.
Hey, it's like a lot of relationships. Sometimes it's just time to say goodbye, and this was one of those.
It is. So, but yeah, come out to Movapalooza. It's going to be fantastic. We cannot wait to have everyone in our park and to get moving.
Indeed. We pumped the fist because of the Eagles trade of AJ Brown appeasing Kelly Brammer, and more importantly, we pumped the fist because of Movapalooza presented by Fleet Feet Roanoke, Saturday, June 20th at the gorgeous Green Hill Park in Salem. Kelly, thank you for your time. We look forward to seeing you there.
Thank you so much. Have a great one.
Indeed. Kelly Brammer with us here in the Fast Lane. Meanwhile, when we return, speaking of things you can do at an event like that and at the Roanoke County Parks and Rec, the Lynchburg Parks and Rec, any Parks and Rec, baseball is part of that. The Liberty Flames baseball season ended in Georgia over the weekend, and it was not without controversy. They had nothing to do with it, but the Georgia Bulldogs did. We'll touch on that next in the Fast Lane and get perspective at 5:30 from Nick Pierce.
At Motor Mile Kia on the Sheeler Motor Mile, we are making it happen. Right now is the perfect time to find your next Kia with over 200 new Kia vehicles available to choose from and more arriving daily. We've proudly served Southwest Virginia and surrounding areas for over 50 years. And while we're upgrading our facility with exciting new renovations, we're still here every day with the selection, saving service, and financing options you expect from Motor Mile Kia. We've got the volume on the Motor Mile, and there's no better place to buy a new Kia. Plus, shop now and enjoy Motor Mile Star benefits, lifetime Virginia state inspections, loaner cars for warranty repairs, convenient drive-in service, and a 48-hour exchange program for added peace of mind. So whether you're shopping for a fuel-saving sedan, a family van, or a brand new SUV, why wait? We're making it happen at Motor Mile Kia on the Sheeler Motor Mile. I-81 exit 118C in Christiansburg. Call 866-SHEELER1 or shop anytime. We're always open at MotorMileKia.com.
The clock is ticking. Time is running out for Virginia citizens to purchase modern sporting rifles and magazines from Big Boys Guns. Beat the July 1st deadline. Right now, the selection is robust at Big Boys Guns. ARs, AKs, and the most popular handguns will soon be banned from sale in the state of Virginia. Don't wait. Visit Big Boys Guns before the inventory is gone and not allowed to return. Shop 24/7 at BigBoysGuns.com and in store on Route 460 in Blue Ridge.
What if counseling services were just a click away? With secure, confidential telehealth sessions through Central Virginia Counseling, you can connect from wherever you feel most comfortable, anywhere in Virginia. No commute, no waiting rooms, just personalized care designed to meet you where you are. Support is closer than you think. Start your journey today on your terms. Visit centralvirginiacounseling.com to get started.
When you walk into Haley's, you see the size and selection of a big box store. Over 19,000 square feet of appliances and mattresses. Leading appliances like KitchenAid, Whirlpool, Maytag, Genair, Speed Queen, GE, and Monogram. And mattresses like Sealy, Serta, and Tempur-Pedic. So what's the difference? A family, locally owned business. And a staff committed to servicing you over the entire life of the product. That means before, during, and well after your purchase. Visit Haley's today, just off Ward Road in Lynchburg. Haley's, quality that counts.
Sandstone architecture, melodic music, wonders of the world. They're staples of Egyptian and Mediterranean culture. But you don't have to travel thousands of miles to experience it. Just drive to downtown Cairo. Downtown Cairo brings you food from the entire Mediterranean, blended with the best Egyptian recipes from super fresh ingredients. Staples like $7 gyros and build your own Mediterranean bowls. Experience the taste of the Egyptian and Mediterranean world in your own backyard. Downtown Cairo, Graves Mill Shopping Center in Forest.
Step into the Fast Lane 24/7 at Trey Lyle VT and Fast Lane Ed Lane on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and wherever you listen to podcasts. Now, back to the Fast Lane.
Sometimes it's easy to make a mountain out of a molehill. And then sometimes there's just multiple sides to every story. And it's so different because as we welcome you back into the Fast Lane here on the VTRN Sports app and 93.3 FM and Fast Lane, Ed Lane, however you listen to podcast, if you choose to listen to us that way. You know, there are celebrations, and then there's celebrations that are gone wrong. And the general principles that I've held with regards to them is again, Miami Hurricanes, 1980s and growing up in the 90s, I never had an issue with their celebrations in and of itself. The Jimmy Johnson kind, fine. They're generally winning games handily. It doesn't impact winning. But the Dennis Erickson, particularly latter part of his tenure, where it's obvious, the Cotton Bowl against Texas probably is the biggest example, where it's like you've lost control of the operation. And I would not go that far with Wes Johnson at Georgia. Let's be clear. They're a good team. They're a good program. This is one incident that transpired. I don't think this is necessarily a reflection of their program. I can't speak fully to it, but it's not like they've had a number of the same incidences that have occurred. Georgia football, bad driving, is an example of repeated behavior. It's not like we've got that with Georgia baseball, but it's an example of kind of two sides to a story. And I don't fault either manager or coach in an initial situation like this. But here's how it unfolded. And with apologies to the guests that'll be joining us around 5:35 today in the Fast Lane, Nick Pierce of the Liberty Flames Sports Network, the audio call as it was heard on the television broadcast of Trey Phelps' home run.
Bye-bye. Home run. Trey Phelps gives Georgia the lead.
Seemed rather innocuous. Quick, easy, obvious home run as the ESPN Plus call had for Trey Phelps. But, as God rest his soul, Billy Mays would say, that's not all.
I think they may have just thrown Trey Phelps out of the game. I saw the arm signal from one of our umpires, and Wes Johnson is now livid. Bradley LaCroix came out of the dugout immediately after the home run as Phelps was going down the first baseline.
They either threw Trey Phelps out or they threw Wes out. I'm not even sure, but either way, Wes is now gone, so I guess Trey was gone.
And of course, you can hear the booing in the background of that call from the ESPN television broadcast of first Trey Phelps and then Wes Moore, the coach, not Wes Johnson, Wes Moore, the coach for the Georgia Bulldogs, getting ejected in that contest. And then, as God rest his soul, Billy Mays would say, yes, there's more of an elaborate explanation of what happened from the TV perspective. And it's interesting because afterwards you get different opinions from each team.
I don't know how you can throw somebody out of the game.
Well, I do know this. I saw a little bit of Phelps down the first base line. I'm sure we'll have a replay of it. Taunton was going down the line looking at this dugout, and you'll see if he wasn't exactly just getting down to first base.
Just wasn't exactly getting down to first base. Well, that's the one thing I could conclude from the replay, and it was Wes Johnson, not Wes Moore. Wes Johnson and Trey Phelps. Johnson, the coach, Phelps, the player for Georgia, that were ejected. But this is coming as someone who, again, I don't follow Georgia baseball that close, as you can tell from getting the names twisted up. But somebody who understands the reality of modern culture and baseball culture. And I'll go back to what I did on my Trostball.com fast take yesterday. I think one of the biggest issues that I have is it's almost like there's a culture right now where people are more concerned with winning on social media than with actually winning on the field. And look, he won on the field first by hitting a home run. Trey Phelps did. But you're so caught up in the look at me moments that you lose sight of the fact that sometimes it can go overboard. And it's a fine line when you go in that particular direction. Again, not saying you can't celebrate. Again, Miami 80s, 90s, it's a fine line. But when you're towing the fine line, you might step over it and it might put your team in a perilous situation. Ultimately, it did not for Georgia in terms of that game. They went on to beat Liberty, eliminating the Flames and punching their own ticket to the Super Regionals. But they'll be without Trey Phelps in their first game of the upcoming Super Regionals, which could hinder their ability to make the College World Series and appear on the VTRN Sports app, your home for the entire College World Series, as well as 93.3 FM in Lynchburg. And then there's the baseball culture part to this as well. Like, I get it from a cultural standpoint. Coaches are going to naturally defend their players. But again, going back to what I said yesterday on the TrostLaw.com Fast Take, there's a parental element where parents, legal guardians, whoever you are, being involved in your kid's life at an early age. And I will put youth sports coaches as well. Celebrations are fine. Get back to the dugout and take care of all that. It may not be physically in the dugout, but get back there. Don't be taunting the other team. I've always operated in competition of don't even acknowledge the competition. Nameless, faceless opponents, to quote former Pittsburgh Steelers coach Mike Tomlin.
The standard is the standard.
Another quote of his. But no, nameless, faceless opponents. Like, don't let them have any level of control over you. And then, you don't have to worry about these things. Now, Wes Johnson came out with his own thoughts. I don't dispute why he would react this way.
As far as the Trey situation, for the record, Trey's family was sitting up in the stands. Trey was waving at his family. The umpires, whatever, I'm not an umpire. They thought he was talking to the dugout. Trey got ejected. Trey will miss game one of the Super Regional. I also was ejected. I have no further penalties, and that's the only statements that we can give, and the NCAA will not be making a statement.
So waving and communicating to his family is the essential explanation from Georgia baseball coach Wes Johnson. More on that in just a moment. There's a baseball cultural element to this, though, that you get to. But waving to his family. So here's my thing. Who in the world is in charge at the University of Georgia of where the players' families sit? Again, I don't know baseball culture the way I understand football setups and basketball setups. But even in high school and certainly in college, I've been to plenty of Virginia Tech, Liberty, and ACC basketball games. Same thing with football. Generally speaking, the players and their families are seated behind their own team's bench, not the opposing team's bench. So if you want to gesture to your family or celebrate with them or mouth to them, you are looking at your bench and at your area. Either BS is what you could cough and say to Wes Johnson of Georgia, or they have serious, quote unquote, logistical challenges they might want to reconsider in their structure at whatever their baseball stadium happens to be called. Forgive me for not knowing that off the top of my head. Again, I'm not the Georgia baseball or even college baseball expert here, but I'm around youth sports in general, and understand the overall concept of baseball. And part of the also factor of this is, Bradley LaCroix came out piping hot. I get it. He's got to have his players back. Like, that's one of the crucial things. And he's trying to build a program. He has done a great job elevating them from year one to year two. Part of that is his first objective in a situation like this is protecting his players.
Yeah, I'm just protecting our guys. That's all I'm doing. I don't have anything to do with the ejection, but I'm going to protect our guys 100%. And, that's my deal. I'm going to protect our guys. It's up to the umpires what they want to decide to do. And obviously they decided that he did enough to be ejected.
I get it. If you're Bradley LaCroix, your objective is to protect your players. And a lot of this goes back to, what the Georgia player Trey Phelps did or did not say. And they're varying accounts. Wes Johnson of Georgia, we played the soundbite earlier, talking and communicating with his family. Bradley LaCroix, to quote Office Space.
Ooh, yeah. I'm going to have to go ahead and sort of disagree with you there.
Because here's essentially what Bradley LaCroix and Riley DeCandido's takes on it. First off, DeCandido on how he interpreted being in the dugout. What happened with Phelps?
I mean, it was a big swing. Like, I'm all about celebrating with your team, but when you throw the bat and turn to our dugout and say what he said, I think it was warranted.
Say what he said. Sounds like there was more to this story. And then Bradley LaCroix on what happened with Phelps.
Yeah, he made remarks to our dugout and looked straight in our dugout. And at the end of the day, I'm going to protect our guys.
What do you say?
I'm not sure. I mean, it's 5,000 people, 3,633 yelling at the top of their lungs. I'm not sure, but obviously it wasn't good. And at the end of the day, my guys know I've got their backs, and I'm going to protect them.
What did he say? Bradley LaCroix's response, I'm not sure. Is it that, or he doesn't want to get fined, but it might be closer to getting his Kenny Powers on? Trey Phelps having a moment of that. Because ultimately, the referee, or the umpire actually, the technical term, they're the ones who said to Wes Johnson and Trey Phelps, and they were thrown out of the ballgame. But if you're Liberty, you have to do that because tensions could escalate. Coming out and defending your players prevents them from being as likely to retaliate by hitting another player, showing up Georgia, getting ejected yourself, inciting a bench clearing brawl that could lead to more ejections. Like, there's a bigger picture element to this from Bradley LaCroix, which, again, tip your cap to him in the heat of the moment to understanding that and not really caring whether his coming out of the dugout was what prompted the Phelps ejection.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know if they were like, hey, I wasn't the one that ejected him. Yeah, right? So I don't know if you're trying to accuse me of doing that, right? We got warned in the first game today when our shortstop got taken out, right, for some reason. And today I'm going to stand up for my players, okay? And if his family was above our dugout, great. They can go back and review it, and the umpires can write a report. I'm not going to take the blame for him getting ejected, right?
Bradley LaCroix, understandably a little tense in that post-game press conference and understandably a little defensive. Again, to get my usher on, I don't know who asked the question. All I know is what I've heard from the press conference. I don't know anything about the individual, whether that was Georgia Athletic Department media covering the site for whatever their official website is, somebody who just covered Georgia Bulldogs sports independently, a la their knockoff of a seaofred.com, which is great. They do great work covering the Liberty Flames. Like, I don't know the difference about that. Maybe it's a local journalist, like their wannabe Bryson Gordon of newsadvance.com. Like, maybe it's one of those type of people. Again, to get my usher on, I do not know. But if you're Bradley LaCroix in that moment, and even afterwards, your objective is to defend your players. And maybe you go a little bit overboard, which I don't think is unreasonable to point at him and say he might have gone overboard because he was even pressed afterwards. And at that point, Bradley LaCroix just sounded like a coach who was kind of done with the whole thing.
Yeah, I couldn't hear it either. Right. I'm not going to answer. I'm not getting into this.
Move on to
I'm not getting into this. And then the moderator just pushing people to move on. Look, I will throw this out there in case Bradley LaCroix or anybody around Liberty happens to be listening to our take on this for whatever it's worth in the Fast Lane. And if they missed anything, full context at Fast Lane Headlane, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and however you consume podcasts, including YouTube and Facebook Live. But I don't have a problem with this. Like, if I'm Bradley LaCroix, okay, the one thing I would advise him is the local media around here is not that hostile sounding and probably pump the brakes. The other thing is being in the media, I grant him grace if that's how he responded in that moment. If he responded when asked about it in mid-July, let's just throw that out as a clean example. And we're 6 weeks past the fact the season's over, you're already in roster completion mode, and you've had a chance to exhale. At that point, you could take a breath and probably address this in a different tone. And I would imagine, I'll give Bradley LaCroix the benefit of the doubt, probably wouldn't have that level of hostility and offensiveness. But it's just different. Otherwise, he's backing his players, and that's the nature of it. Because it's a fine line to walk. Like we saw with Virginia over the weekend as well. And they had a different reaction, but it wasn't just one player. It was two that were ejected. And that's a Chris Pollard learning experience for the native of Madison Heights here in Virginia, just down the road from our studios in Forest, and about 15, 20 minutes north of Lynchburg, of Forest, northwest. But John Payon was ejected. He, along with Kyle Johnson, but the Payon ejection unfolded kind of like this.
Back to avoid that. Swing it and a miss. It's a 1-2-3-7 for Payon. And somebody just got tossed. Sean Cassidy just threw somebody out of the game. Well, this was how the bottom of the seventh finished up. John Payon, one of the weekend arms for Virginia, struck out Ty Long, had some choice phrases and words for the batter, and our home plate umpire, Sean Cassidy, tossed him immediately. So it's officially gone down as an ejection because of verbal taunting.
Verbal taunting, code for
dollar bills, y'all.
Or the better Kenny Powers soundbite. Nothing like live radio to do that. But that might have been what John Payon had to say after the strikeout for Virginia. And the referee caught it, and there was no bleep button in there, and therefore he gets ejected. Understanding the moment between that and Kyle Johnson. Like, again, it's like all these people are trying to win on social media by having the viral moment of celebration. Just do what's going to get you the celebration and then get back to your dugout. Celebrate with your own team. Celebrate after the game when nobody's going to get ejected because it doesn't matter because the game's over. Have some perspective on this. Am I getting off my lawn? Oh, my goodness. But at least to Chris Pollard's credit, he apologized right off the bat to Southern Miss for both the players taunting and ejections.
I will start today with an apology to the Southern Miss program, to their fans, to the administration, great baseball fans. The administration's run an awesome event. I have a world of respect for Coach Ostrander. I'm embarrassed that we had two players kicked out of the game for losing their composure. I haven't had two players kicked out of a game or even period over the last 25 years. We talked about in our pregame meeting at the hotel that this would be an emotionally charged atmosphere and we needed to not play with emotion, not get caught up in the emotion. They're two great young men. I've known both of them for a really long time. I've coached both of them now for multiple years. I know their families. They're good people, but they did get caught up in the emotion of the moment. And Coach Ostrander and his guys do everything first class. They didn't deserve that.
That was Chris Pollard's reaction. Understanding the nature of the moment is so crucial and key when it comes to that. And that's the reality of this is, you got to understand your team, yes, but it's also a fine line of preparing your team for these type of moments and doing more as a college coach. Granted, it's harder than ever because of NIL, transfer portal, not what it is in football and basketball, but it's there in all sports, but also conveying to your players, look, you're a brand. Part of being your brand is, yes, social media, but also not doing dumb things on social media that puts you and your team in a compromised position to where you end up losing, because that does end up affecting your
dollar bills, y'all.
If you just mouth off to the team, to the baseball, or to the opponent that you just struck out. When we return to the Fast Lane, more perspective on this. Nick Pierce, Liberty Flames Sports Network, was there in Athens for this moment. We'll recap that and the entire season for the Flames as well next in the Fast Lane.
Mark Dalton here with Terry Volkswagen. Get ready to fall head over heels for the perfect VW SUV. One size doesn't fit all, though, and that's why Volkswagen has an SUV for everyone. From the compact and affordable Volkswagen Taos to the tech-packed Tiguan and the spacious Volkswagen Atlas. No matter which one fits your lifestyle, you'll love the comfort, performance, and safety. Stop by Terry Volkswagen on Forest Road in Lynchburg or check us out online at terryvw.com. Terry Volkswagen. You'll love our cars.
Guests are great, except unwanted guests. At Specialty Exterminating, we know the difference. Hi, I'm Sabrina Kennan with Specialty Exterminating. We help you keep unwanted pests out of your home. Now we can keep those reptiles away. Our new reptile repellent is the perfect add-on for your pest prevention service. It's pet and people safe, so it's perfect for any homeowner, especially pool owners and homes in wooded and rural areas. Call us so we can repel the reptiles. Specialty Exterminating, your pest prevention partner since 1979.
Hi, I'm Al Billingsley, a board member with CASA of Central Virginia. Children who have experienced abuse or neglect often enter foster care feeling scared, confused, and alone. That's where CASA volunteers step in. We stand behind these children to make sure that their voices are heard in court. CASA is looking for caring adults from our community to serve as volunteer advocates. And as a man, I can tell you we're especially need more men to step up for these kids. If you're ready to make a difference, learn more at cvcasa.org.
Big news, everyone. Earthright Roofing is giving away a free roof. Go to our website to read the terms and conditions and see if you qualify for up to a $10,000 asphalt shingle roof at no charge. Must be 15 years or older roof to qualify. Come to our showroom for a double entry into the contest or go online for an entry. Enjoy, and we look forward to meeting you soon. Thank you. Visit earthrightroofing.com or call our office at 434-248-3697 for more information about the contest. We look forward to hearing from you.
Starting a landscaping business, growing your fleet, Miller Built Outdoor Equipment is focused on commercial turf professionals across Central Virginia. We help you choose the right Toro commercial mower, professional handheld equipment, and the right support plan so your operation grows the right way. Commercial turf is your business. Supporting it is ours. Miller Built Outdoor Equipment on 12th Street in Lynchburg.
Step into the Fast Lane 24/7 at Trey Lyle VT and Fast Lane Ed Lane on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and wherever you listen to podcasts. Now, back to the Fast Lane.
So it has been a topic of ours on our TrostLaw.com Fast Takes, and we discussed it very briefly yesterday in the Fast Lane. We had the Women's College World Series, so we started a little bit late, and then today we finally got a chance to delve into it. And we kind of got both angles of this as far as player celebrations leading to ejections. And if you want our full thoughts, go back, Fast Lane, Ed Lane, however you listen to podcasts, including Facebook Live, YouTube. We got them up on those platforms as well, because Virginia was on the receiving end or on the giving end of it. They had two players that were rejected, and then their coach ultimately said he loves the players, but he was disappointed in that particular moment's action. They got ejected for taunting against Southern Miss in an elimination game over the weekend, and they didn't have them available, and they were ultimately bounced this past weekend from the Southern Miss Regional, the Hattiesburg Regional. And then Liberty's on the other side of it. They gave up a home run, and then Trey Phelps of Georgia was ejected for, looking at the Liberty dugout. Some people say he was looking to the stands. Some people say he was mouthing things to the dugout. I was not obviously there. I did not hear any cameras that were mic'd up on the player for that. I still have not seen that on social media. So if it's there, you can at Fast Lane, Ed Lane, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and point me to that. But it resulted in his ejection. And the interesting angle is predictably Georgia's coach, Wes Johnson, defending them, because that's the nature of baseball. Coaches in any sport, I think maybe a little bit differently in baseball, defend their players. I think there's a cultural ingrained element to that, and I totally get it. You're with these guys a long time. You see their investment behind the scenes. There's so many other factors to that. And then there's Liberty side, where you're on the receiving end of that, and it's not how you want to play. You don't like that at all. And Bradley LaCroix opined on that afterwards. So somebody who is quite familiar, because he was there calling the action for the Liberty Flames Sports Network, and he's intimately familiar with the Liberty Flames themselves because he is their play-by-play voice for baseball. Nick Pierce from the Liberty Flames Sports Network, generous enough to stop by with us here in the Fast Lane. Nick, a pleasure to speak with you. Thank you for bearing with me on my synopsis of what I elaborated on a little bit earlier. Your perspective. First of all, we're glad to have you in. Hope you're decompressing. Second of all, I'll give you the blank canvas before we dive into a couple of specifics about this, and then can finally shift over to the series and a great season for Liberty baseball.
Yeah, Ed, thanks for having me on. It's a lot to unpack, as you attempted to eloquently do so there. With the Virginia situation, and then obviously the Liberty one is the one that I can speak to most. I mean, first of all, it was a tremendous ball game with Liberty and Georgia on Sunday. And if my voice sounds a little tired, it's because it is. It's been quite a month of May. But it's been like you said, it's been a heck of a run. It was such a great ball game. Cooper Harrington was throwing, you could go back through the history books and say this was maybe one of the greater performances in the history of the program, just given the circumstances, the opponent, and how well he was pitching. I mean, this Georgia team has hit the third most home runs in a single season in the history of college baseball. I mean, digest that for a minute. This is a murderer's row lineup. I think we jokingly called them a couple of times the 27 Yankees over the weekend, top to bottom. And Trey Phelps, the player in question here, is a key piece of that, their leadoff hitter. And, you know, it was a moment, certainly that electrified the stadium. I'm sure it was a big moment for Phelps. And, you know, he celebrated, which, you know, I think every player in today's game, that's part of it now. And, you know, I have no issues with celebrating, but I think where it obviously goes over the line is when you are taunting or looking into someone's dugout, gesturing. There's been a couple different narratives to this that I've heard. First of all, I'll just tell you what I saw. I was watching the flight of the ball and watching Nick Barone, because Barone, actually, our left fielder, actually leapt at the wall. So I wanted to make sure, you know, if he makes a play, I want to make sure I get that first. When I realized Nick hadn't caught the ball and he slid down the wall and was seated at the base of the fence and it was gone, I looked back and found Trey Phelps. By that time, he was rounding first. And I thought I saw him waving either towards the fans, maybe Liberty's bullpen. I don't know. I don't know at that point what he's doing. But then the next thing I saw, or next person I saw, was Bradley LaCroix coming out of the Liberty dugout. And I've been with Coach LaCroix for 2 years now. I have never seen him that furious about anything. I mean, fighting mad. It reminded me of, you know, the Braves fan here. A couple of years ago, if you remember when Ronald Acuna was hit by Jose Urena for the Marlins, and it was pretty obvious that he'd rolled him on purpose. And Brian Snitker led the charge out of the dugout for Atlanta. That was the image I had. That's what it reminded me of. I mean, it looked like LaCroix was going to get somebody. I'm not saying he was, but it looked that way. I mean, he was so mad. And the umpires got involved. Obviously, cooler heads prevailed. You know, LaCroix got back to the dugout. The umpires discussed it and pretty promptly decided that it was in the best interest to toss Trey Phelps. So clearly, first of all, I wasn't down there. I don't know what happened. Like, I can't definitively tell you, oh, he did this or that or said this or that. But something evoked the response from LaCroix, and not just him, but if you look up and down that Liberty dugout, players, coaches, support staff, everyone in unison was pointing and said, what's with this? What are you doing? Jackson Sorensen, the first baseman, had words for us like, just get moving, get around the bags. Easton Swafford had his hands out at second base saying, come on, what are you doing? So clearly there was something either said or done that evoked a response of that nature from Liberty. I don't think that many people would respond in that way over nothing. Now, the other narrative I've gotten, and I'm sure you've seen or heard as well, is that his family, Trey Phelps' family, was sitting above the dugout. He was gesturing towards them, making them part of the celebratory moment. I don't know. Maybe two things are true. Maybe he was, but maybe there was something towards the dugout. I don't know. But I'll say this. It's not the responsibility of Liberty or whatever Team X is in that dugout, or the umpires, to know where Trey Phelps' family is sitting. They couldn't have known that. And so as a player, I just think you got to be a little smarter in the moment and realize maybe in the moment that, you know, this could be construed one way or the other. And, you know, it's just all around, it's just really unfortunate that is what is being talked about so much from this game, when up until the eighth inning, when Georgia kind of got away, it was a tremendous college baseball game with two tremendous starting pitchers. Georgia's guy as well, Caden Aoki, was tremendous with 11 strikeouts. Just such a tremendous regional final that this is what we're talking about.
Nick Pierce of the Liberty Flames Sports Network is stopping by with us in the fast lane. Nick, you transition really well at the very end, because the point that I brought up, and is just watching Bradley LaCroix, who was the dominant figure in the post-game press conference after the loss to Georgia, which ended the Flames season on Sunday, is that this was the subject of it, not a great game and a great season for the Liberty Flames. Once we get through the, you know, social media exacerbates this, of course, but the outrage of the moment from this, can people take a step back and appreciate that kind of ended on a bad note for the Flames? But, I mean, this team had a heck of a run down the stretch, but really throughout the entire season.
Oh, for sure. I think even now, a day or two later, fans and folks that follow the program, and, I haven't talked to players or coaches, since we were in Athens, really. I've tried to give them a couple days because they're doing exit interviews and end of the year things right now. But I'm sure everyone is kind of able to step back and say, man, what a year. 43 wins, that tied the single season program record. Runner-up finish in Conference USA, one of three teams to get an at-large, or one of three teams to get a bid to the NCAA tournament. Ninth regional, third at-large, I believe it was, or no, not third. I'm sorry, third trip to a regional final for this team. So tremendous year, much improved, a 13-win improvement from the year prior, and just in year two for Bradley LaCroix. Fans, I think, do and should really appreciate the tremendous year that this was. He beat a Boston College team twice in this regional that finished top four in the ACC. They were the best team in the ACC as far as the finish goes to not host a regional. So yeah, the 27, I think it was, come from behind wins this year. 9 of them, I believe, in the 7th inning or later. 3 or 4 of them in the 9th inning. Wiped out a 6-run deficit against Duke. Wiped out a 5-run deficit in the 9th at Western Kentucky to come back and win a game there. Yeah, there were a lot of highlights from this year. And there's going to be some guys that go on to play professional baseball. Ben Blair, Tanner Marsh. I think those are 2 guys that are going to hear their names called pretty early in the Major League draft here in about a month. A lot to celebrate, and a lot, I think, to be excited for the future, no question.
Nick Pierce stopping by with us, kind of getting an overview of the Liberty Flames season. It ended disappointingly, as it does for everybody but one team who ends up being the champion. But they had a really phenomenal run in year 2 of the Bradley LaCroix era. Is this what you were expecting to see out of year 2 of Bradley LaCroix, or can you candidly say now that it's done, this was a little bit more than maybe you thought you would see from year 1 to year 2 of this era?
In today's age of college athletics, Ed, it's hard to know what to expect because of the transfer portal, right? You've got so many new players every year. But I will say this team returned some pretty good arms from last year. I mentioned Blair, Cooper Harrington. I don't know that we expected him to become what he did, 14 saves out of the bullpen. But there were Tyler August out of the bullpen. I mean, there were others. Josh Swink. They added some good ones like Bradley Zayak, a guy that Zayak's loss to Georgia on Saturday was his first of the year. The guy finished 9-1. So yeah, I think that there was some thought that, hey, this could be a pretty good team, but you never know. I'm not surprised by it. I mean, if you look at LaCroix, what he did at VCU in his first season, it was just okay. Second season, they went to a regional. So it's kind of mirroring the same thing of what he did at VCU to what he's done at Liberty. Now, I don't think he's going anywhere after year 2 at Liberty. I think he's happy here. He's building something special that he kind of referenced after the ball game on Sunday in the loss. But this is a place where you can do special things. And I think any player that's looking for a home to play college baseball, hey, this team can compete against the best. I can get drafted really high here, and maybe I could be a part of the first super regional team. Those are all things that I think you can sell as a coaching staff.
So you mentioned those things that the coaching staff can sell to players. It's natural to wonder this. Do you see more departures coming, particularly with Ben Blair and Tanner Marsh, just because they showed at such a high level that I would imagine, I mean, I don't know if you saw them at the game, but Major League Baseball scouts have to have taken notice. And I mean, that's a good problem to have, that you're putting out that type of development where guys get those opportunities.
Oh, there's no question. I mean, Blair is going to be a very high draft pick. I mean, I know the last half of the regular season wasn't good in terms of numbers for him, but you watch what he did over his last 2 starts. That fastball was electric against Boston College on Friday. He sawed off literally one of the Boston College hitters, broke his bat. They don't use wood, Ed. He snapped the bat at the handle with that 2-seam fastball. That's a sign of things to come, of what he's going to do when he gets to pro ball and he is facing wood bats. I mean, scouts are salivating over this guy. Tanner Marsh defensively, I mean, he might be big league ready with the glove already. The bat's got to catch up with, but we've seen him make improvements over his 3 years at Liberty. Had his best offensive season this year, and then they got a lot of guys to graduation in terms of offense. They're going to have to replace a lot of hitters, but that's what the transfer portal does. You can turn it over pretty quickly. They're going to hit the ground running as soon as they finish these exit interviews, which is customary at the end of the year for every program. You talk to every player and you have an end of the year meeting, and then right after that, you hit the ground running. And I think I heard Coach LaCroix say it's portal combat now. So you get going on recruiting and you get the next wave in there. But yeah, I think that for sure there's going to be a lot of guys they're going to have to replace either via the draft or graduation.
So one more on Ben Blair, because he's a Gretna guy, and there was some interest in him, particularly as he started to burst onto the scene this year. When he arrived from Gretna at Liberty, was there the idea that he could develop into this kind of star over on the mountain?
Yeah, I mean, well, he went to Liberty Christian Academy and pitched under Randy Tomlin there. And so, what better guy than a Liberty Athletics Hall of Famer and a former big leaguer to learn from. And, when he got to Liberty, he kind of didn't really have a deep arsenal yet. There was good life to his fastball, not quite where it is now. But he was more out of the bullpen his freshman year. Sophomore year, he took that step as a starter, but kind of wore down towards the end of the year, did a lot of stuff in the offseason to build some strength and some endurance, and we really saw him hold up over the course of this season. I think what makes Blair so special, it's a couple of things. One, that lower arm slot, but he still maintains, and I'm going to get a little nerdy here, so bear with me. He maintains the good metrics on his fastball with the induced vertical break. And he can run it up there to 97. He'll reach back for 96, 97 when he needs it late in the game. He'll probably sit around 93 to 95. But he's added pitches, I mean, he's got the 4-seamer, the 2-seamer, he's got a cutter, he's got a slider. Probably needs to develop a changeup at the next level, but he'll have more time to work on that now. It's tough to do that sometimes in college. But so there's one thing that makes him special, that arm slot and the ride, the extension that he gets down the mound. But then also he just throws so many strikes. His strikeout to walk ratio was like top 12 or 15 in the country all season. He pounds the zone, and you don't see that at this level with a lot of guys that throw that hard. They tend to be a little more erratic, which they can get by with because of the velocity. But he pounds the strike zone, and I think that's something that scouts have really taken notice of. And the other thing is that, too, he's durable. He's never missed a start. So those are all things that I think really bode well for him when he gets to the next level. I think he's got a legitimate chance to be in someone's rotation in the major leagues in a few years. Where that is, I don't know. Worst case scenario, I think he's coming in out of the bullpen throwing 97, 98, maybe 100 by that point. I mean, who knows? The way that they can squeeze more velocity out of guys now. I think he's a major league pitcher at some point real soon. I really do.
That's insane, given the pedigree of what Liberty has put out in baseball. You could add another one in a guy from our backyard, and Ben Blair, who's surely hear his name called pretty early, has been Blair will likely be an early selection, as Nick Pierce just noted here in the fast lane. Nick, a couple other bigger picture takeaways for the Flames from this season. One of them being, what value is it now that they can sell to prospective players? As you mentioned, they have to replenish their lineup with a lot of graduating players. What value is it that it's not just Liberty you made it, but this was as strong a year as we've seen in a while from Conference USA?
Oh, I think it's valuable. I mean, it kind of goes back to what I said earlier. I mean, you're looking for a place to play college baseball, I mean, those, sure, the purebreds, the blue bloods, whatever you want to call them at the top, everybody would love to play there, but they've only got so many roster spots. Maybe, you're looking for a place that's not, the top of the SEC or something. And, this place gives you an opportunity to compete against those teams. I mean, we just saw it, right? I mean, hey, maybe you're not going to Georgia, but you want to compete against those guys, or you want to compete against some of the best. Liberty does that. And, Coach LaCroix talks about that all the time. It's why you come to Liberty. You look at the schedule year over year. They're playing ACC, SEC. West Virginia came to Liberty for a 3-game series this year. West Virginia is still playing baseball. They just won their regional last night. If you want to have a chance to compete against the best, you're still going to get looked at in terms of a professional career. Guys are getting drafted out of here year over year. Mason Fluharty's in the major leagues right now. He pitched in the bullpen for the Toronto Blue Jays in the World Series last year. You can do all those things and come to Liberty. So I think it's an incredible element for the staff to be able to sell to recruits, and I think that they'll definitely use it.
Throughout our chat today, Nick, you've referenced whether it's West Virginia, Duke, Virginia Tech. There are a number of big-name opponents that have, in some cases, come to Liberty to play. Other times, the Flames have gone on the road or to neutral sites to face them. How much of that is a baseball/Bradley LaCroix philosophy? How much of it is a philosophy that we've seen it with soccer? We've seen it with, obviously, softball. Other sports have that same philosophy of almost to an extent, anybody, anytime, any place.
Yeah, well, I think if you want to get the best and the most out of your players, you got to gauge yourself against the best teams, right? And so you see it, you make a good point. I mean, not just baseball. I mean, look at Dodd Richardson and what she's done with the softball program. Every year they start the season playing against number 5, number 7, number 2, number 1. I mean, it's a murderer's row schedule against the SEC, the ACC, the Big 12, whoever she can get on the schedule. She goes and plays in those tournaments. Yeah, I mean, I think that there's something to that. I think Liberty is also fortunate from a regional standpoint that you've got so many ACC clubs in your backyard. The Dukes, the Wake Forest, NC State, West Virginia, obviously Virginia Tech and UVA. Every year you can keep those series going, that you can fill up your midweek games with those opponents. Or in the case of West Virginia, they came down and played a series here on the weekend. So yeah, I think without question, that's something of value. And it's a big reason that Liberty was able to put together the resume that it did to get an at-large bid to the NCAA regionals. And they've played well against the ACC over the last couple of years. Didn't get Wake this year, beat them last year, took a game off Virginia Tech in Blacksburg, swept Duke in the regular season series, took a game off West Virginia. So, yeah, I mean, you play those teams, it makes your team better, but then also it helps you build that resume for the postseason. And Conference USA, I mean, to go back to something you said a minute ago, I think it's not just the fact that Conference USA got 3 teams in this year. I think it's the fact that it's 3 teams that are going to be in Conference USA going forward, because the league is losing Louisiana Tech. The league is losing Dallas Baptist as a baseball-only affiliate. While those are great baseball programs, they didn't have great years by their standards this year, and you showed that you can still carry the weight with teams that are Jacksonville State, Missouri State, Liberty, teams that are going to be around for years to come. So I thought that was encouraging too.
That's a great point. It's a high note on which to end our chat today with Nick Pierce of the Liberty Flames Sports Network. Nick, thank you for your time today. Your voice sounded as lively as we expected, even more lively than we expected from somebody who has put in a lot of work over the last 3 months, and in particular the last month or at least a couple of weeks with tournament action here. We thank you for giving us whatever is left of that voice today in the Fast Lane.
Ed, I appreciate it. I'm blessed and fortunate to get to do what I do. Thank you so much.
Nick Pierce with us here in the Fast Lane and how we wrap it up today. If you missed that or our thoughts on the celebrations in baseball situation or anything, Fast Lane, Ed Lane, wherever you listen to podcasts, including Facebook Live and YouTube. Thanks for listening to The Fast Lane on VTRN Sports, 93.3 FM, W227BG Timberlake, and 1320 AM, WVGM Lynchburg.
This is SportsCenter.